Well, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network and sponsored by Morgan Tringet's. We're jumping in here, and Trevor is jumping in here and saying, "Hey, I don't got green check marks." It said that they were having trouble getting out to Facebook. Hopefully, we can refresh that, get that running a little bit better. But we're running in here. Man, as excited as a Broncos fan could possibly be, Trevor, man. I mean, I'll be honest. I was the naysayer. I was out there predicting a loss. Man, I couldn't have been more the wrong. Denver Broncos go out there. They handle business. Was there anything that didn't go right for the Broncos today, man?
Again, it's when we cover the team, it's much more fun covering a team that's trying to compete and trying to just be dominant. It's great to see a dominant win for once. And the Denver Broncos did that today against the Atlanta Falcons. I thought they had a great shot. It was a great matchup for them. It's great to see, and it's again much more fun covering a team when they're winning.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Love it when the Broncos are winning and they went out there, they handled business, man. Like I said, I was worried. I was worried about this Atlanta Falcons offense, what they might be able to do to this Denver Bronco defense. I know that the offense, what Bo Nix did, the records that he set, the day that he had, is absolutely going to be a story and needs to be a story, Trevor. But 6 points on the Atlanta Falcons from the Atlanta Falcons offense. An offense that just looked stymied all day long. And this is the reason I thought this was going to be a much closer game than this was the fact that this team was rated very, very well coming into this game, man. They were, in 5 categories, they were top 10 coming in offensively, man. That's nothing to be shaking your head at, man. Talk about this defense, though, man. What'd you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, just dominant, all game long. And again, Bijan Robinson kind of got off, a little bit to a quick start, but they quickly shut him down, and it really played into Denver's defense and what they do well. It played into their strengths because Kirk Cousins had the drop back to pass and, having to throw the football around, and that plays into Denver's favor defensively because of the pass rushers that this team has. Zach Allen, Nick Bonito, they just have those guys and get after Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, not a mobile quarterback. This is why I said it on Friday. This plays into Denver's strengths. If they can just stop Bijan Robinson, I think it's going to be a long day for Kirk Cousins because it's not easy to pass against this Denver defense. And so able to stop Bijan Robinson, it was huge in this win, and it just dominating performance from the defense as well.
Trevor, you mentioned it right off the bat. I don't know what we're having. We're having a hard time over on the Denver Bronco Roundup page. We'll just continue to roll over here on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Feel free to jump on over or share it out to all your friends. But speaking of sharing it out to all your friends, Ernie Mays is coming in here, buddy. He's got something to say. You mentioned it, man. He says, "Go Broncos country only. Bo Nix for 6. Keith. Yeah, I was the one saying the Falcons were going to put up 35 points and the Broncos were only going to put up 24. Ernie Mays does not like it when you pick against the Broncos. But hey, Ernie, I was thinking maybe that's the good luck charm here. Maybe I'm the guy who's supposed to pick against them because goodness gracious, if I keep picking them against them and they come up with this 38-6 type of score, I'll keep doing it every single week, Ernie. Glad that I was wrong. Glad the Broncos went out there. And I want to talk a little bit about what they did. But Michael Ronquillo is coming in here. We're talking about what he did. He's coming in here and saying, good evening, Keith and Trevor, and go Bo Broncos, big orange and blue hearts, and he's dropping 100 stars. Thank you, Michael Ronquillo, man. I'm glad that you're in here. I'm glad that you're a part of the show, man. One of the OGs, part of that Roundup royalty. We appreciate you so very much, man. I know you got to be excited about this win, Michael. I know you got to be excited. Kind of like Dan as well. He's saying, hello, gentlemen. What a night. Go Denver Broncos. What a game, man. Yeah, when you dominate like this, it's just you get to ride that high. I mean, you don't look at your defense and go, oh boy, but what about? And you don't look at your special teams and say, oh, but what about? And you don't look at your offense and say, but there was those couple of, man, it seemed like every opportunity that went for the Broncos went almost their way. I mean, kind of proves it out on the scoreboard, and we're loving it. It's about darn time that the wide receiver screens actually worked. Yeah, we went up, and Trevor pointed this out in our pregame show. What the type of defense we were going up against, who was playing on the other side of the ball, was key in a lot of what we were able to accomplish. The Denver Broncos came out, they game planned, they schemed. The coaches had a good game. Trevor, the coaches had a good game. We don't even have to talk about the coaches maybe having a bad game. So everything kind of went the Broncos' way, and that reflects. Just a couple more. I'll throw it over to you as well, Trevor. I know there's a lot of thoughts going on. Bo Nix for Rookie of the Year, says Biggie Bronco over on YouTube. Dan saying, hats off, Marvin Mims. What a game. Welcome to the big show. Wide receiver Marvin Mims. He's also very happy about that 38-6. And Michael Ronquillo coming in here. And I told you we'd end up talking offense too, Trevor. Bo Nix, 4 passing touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons today. I'll add in also 300 yards plus in this game. Also 2 sacks from outside linebacker Nick Benito, says one Michael Ronquillo. Just really quick, got to get over to Mr. Phil McLaughlin saying, hello, Keith and Rockaman. Love the way they played. Williams looked good, and also liked Vele. Go Broncos, man. Like I said, I've been spitting out a lot. I got to get to a lot more comments as you guys are absolutely blowing it up. But I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to you as well. Like I said, we talked about the Denver Broncos defense, what they were able to do. Just a hint. Let's talk about this Denver Broncos Bo Nix offense, what he was able to accomplish, and the game plan that we went out there and executed, because it included the running game too, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can finally say that the Broncos aren't going to have just one running back every week. It's hard to predict going forward what the running back's going to be behind Bo Nix and who's going to get most of the carries. Last week it was Esme. This week it was Javonte. Seen a little bit of mixture of Esme and McLaughlin in there as well. But I just think it's going to be based upon the matchups. And I think Sean Payton is really going to use all 3 of those running backs, in these games. And Joe Lombardi, the Broncos OC, he kind of pointed this. I was wondering if they might go to this plan because he was saying, he's pointing it out before the game, that they really like all these guys. They really like Javonte. They really like what Jaleel McLaughlin can do. They like what Esme can do. They have confidence in all those guys. So I think that they're going to use all those guys depending on the matchup and what they see fit for this offense. But yeah, I mean, just dominate for Bo Nix all the way around. Again, I mean, they were spreading the football around most of the game, and it wasn't just one guy that they were throwing to. It was multiple guys. I'm kind of done hearing that Bo Nix doesn't have weapons. Yeah, does he have the weapons that maybe he ideally wants? But no. But again, with the cap situation you have, you're seeing Sutton, Vele, even Jordan Humphrey got involved. I know that call was a little luck on Denver's side, but I mean, still give him props. He scored a touchdown in this game. Marvin Mims is getting more involved in the offense finally. So, Javonte Williams was good today. So you have playmakers that are starting to emerge right now for the Denver Broncos football team. And it's not just about Bo Nix's growth, because Bo Nix is growing. He's growing fast. And I really love to see the growth from week 1 to now. Go back and watch those games, and you're going back and look at those stats. It's incredible. The big leaps and bounds he's really making. It seemed like that bye week he really started focusing on his footwork and getting that right. It's been huge. The quarterback play for the Denver Broncos has really turned this offense around, it seems like. And again, they were more consistent in this game today than they were against the Chiefs. Second half, they didn't disappear. They kept on the gas pedal in this game. Really love seeing it. Sean Payton, a good game. I haven't really praised Sean Payton a ton this season. I criticized him when he deserved to be criticized. but I'm going to praise Sean Payton today. I love the creative play calling. Love seeing Marvin Mims get involved. Some of these young wide receivers. He believes in this team. He believes in this offense, and I love to see it today. Hats off to Sean Payton. Tip the cap. He did his job today and got this offense, rolling in the right direction.
I do gotta, you always play as producer and host a little bit of a, back and forth. So Phil McLaughlin came in and he dropped 200 stars when he was coming in here and giving us some love with his comment here. I just want to say, yes, this running game should be good against this Atlanta Falcons defense, but I love the way that Javonte went out there and took it to it.
Yep.
Because he very well could have, crumbled in there, not put his nose up in there, not fought for extra yards. I mean, the guy was out there. He was playing like a man possessed, like a guy that we kind of saw a couple of weeks ago. I thought he was looking pretty good, but, again, good to see Javonte out there. Good to see the running game get going. And you're right. I think Vele is one of those guys that now every time you see the ball head towards Devon Vele, you're like, yes, because you know that he's going to secure the ball, get the ball, just a tried and true wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. And more importantly, Bo Nix, I don't want to pick on anybody in a win, especially, but when I think of little Jordan Humphreys, on the other hand, every time the ball goes towards him, you're like, oh goodness, oh please, Devon Vele is just that guy that takes care of the ball, has great hands, seems to be there whenever you need him, and isn't targeted a ton though. Which is, for me, is even bigger, because a lot of these guys, it's like, hey man, I got to get touches. I got to get in the rhythm of the game. He's a guy that can just go out there and get you 2 or 3 catches when you need them, and does his job. So, got to get over to Kenny Kirkpatrick, the amazing K&K Sports Show, the stepfather in here, co-hosting and hosting at times, and saying, good evening, everyone. Get excited, Broncos fans. You have a second weapon in Mims. Oh, and I'm on that Knicks train. Choo-choo. I even threw it in there, man. I made a fool of myself just for Kenny Kirkpatrick doing the choo-choo train. But I'll tell you what, man, I think we are starting to see some of these weapons develop. I think you're right, Trevor. We can no longer just sit there and give excuses and say, there's no weapons on this team. There's no weapons. You develop weapons. You make weapons. You got to go out there. You got to make it happen sometimes. And that's what we're starting to see in the wide receivers, in Marvin Mims, and continuing to play producer as we're having things pop up in the background. So Pearl's coming in saying, wow. If you had to explain this win, I'll make it easier than that, or a little bit easier maybe, in 3 words or less though. Pearl's coming in here with just 1 word. Wow. I'm stalling. I'm giving you a little bit of opportunity to think about this. I'd love to hear the posse hear about this. Love the game. That might be another 3-word answer you might be able to do right there. But how would you describe this, man, in 3 words or less, bud?
I would say much needed. I mean, it's one of those games, we talked about it, like you had to have this game to be able to really consider yourself a playoff team. And I just think that you have to take care of business at home, and they did that. And it's one of those, today at least anyway. So it's huge. I mean, huge, because it's not only what Atlanta could possibly be as far as a playoff team, but as far as like just what this Broncos team needs to do. That you have to take care of business against good teams. Now that Atlanta Falcons team still kind of figuring out what they have. You have a new quarterback in place on that offense. That defense is just, it's not the greatest right now. So to put it nicely, so it's one of those things where it's just dominant. We didn't know that the Broncos are going to come in today and dominate the way they did, but it just goes to show that people need to start taking them more serious than what they have been. And, it's a team that I think is young. They're hungry, like as Sean Payton has been pointed out multiple times this year. They're young, hungry, and they're ready to prove the world wrong and prove the doubters wrong. I just think that this game shows last week was tough way to lose, but they came back and you bounced back in a big way. And I think it showed huge this week, and hopefully continue going forward. You can continue to build momentum going forward and stack those wins as you need each and every win you possibly can get to make a playoff push.
I absolutely agree, man. Sorry, taking care of some comments that were coming through that we need to get rid of. That being said, man, this playoff push I think can be real. I think you can start investing in it. Part of the reason that I predicted a Denver Broncos loss is part of what I've heard you say. I've heard other Broncos fans say. I need to prove it. I need to prove it type of moment. And I thought, man, the Atlanta Falcons, I know that they're not the best defense, but they're an offense, and this might be a tough game. Well, the Denver Broncos, where they went out there and offensively, they took it to this Atlanta Falcons team. I mean, from the get. I mean, we were putting up points in the first quarter all the way throughout this game, Trevor. It was a gas pedal type of game. Kept it down the entire time, right? So, I mean, not only that, but then on the other side of things, an explosive offense, lots of weapons, lots of opportunity. I thought for the Atlanta Falcons, for Kirk Cousins to come in here and be able to be in this race. You know, I was honestly as soon as we scored and they marched all the way right back down the field and it looked like they were going to put up a touchdown, I'm like, okay, this is the type of game I was thinking. And then it ended up being 3. And then it ended up being 3. And then it ended up being no more after that. But so, I mean, now this was a prove it type of game, man. This was a game that they checked that box, bud. In my opinion, in my heart, they checked that box, man. Let's see. I got to get to a few more comments. Love the game. Absolutely. Michael Ronquillo, finally wide receiver Marvin Mims gets his first touchdown catch from quarterback Bo Nix. The funny thing is, I don't know if anybody else watched that Oregon game versus Wisconsin, but boy, do those Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin plays look somewhat similar to what you might see from an Oregon standpoint. Sure look like it, man. And it's amazing. Like a couple of those guys might come from that program as well. Pearl was just saying it was fun to watch. Bo Nix, he looked fantastic. My good friend, Jeremy Dressler, coming in asking, what's up, fellas? And saying, go Broncos, man. Man, I know that no one takes a loss harder than my good friend Jeremy Dressler. But I know he's celebrating, man. He's excited. He loves what he saw. And I mean, who couldn't? Absolutely, who couldn't? Kenny Kirkpatrick says, all joking aside, Broncos Broncos should be very excited about this team. You could have easily folded in after the last week's heartbreak. Just the opposite. That starts with the quarterback. Nix looks like a leader. Trevor, I know that we've been kind of harsh on the development and the need to see it. Another box check, though, as far as Bo Nix. It's got to be one of those ones that you're starting to feel a lot better about naming him that franchise guy. I know that you want to wait. I know that you're on the wait and see mode, but this makes you feel better. This gets you one more click down the path, right, sir?
Yeah, I mean, again, some think that I'm way, way harsh on Bo Nix, even though, again, I had him mocked to Denver in the offseason before they even, the draft even happened. So I like what I seen from Bo beforehand. I thought he fit what Sean Payton wanted to do with his offense. It's just a matter of fact is that Denver loved him enough to do so. And clearly they did. Yeah, I mean, he's taking strides in that right direction to being that franchise guy. I said that in the Tampa Bay game. He was taking those strides then. He did have some slip-ups. He was struggling a little bit with his footwork. We called that out when it needed to be called out, and that's fine. But Bo Nix is continuing to grow each and every week, and he's been the bright spot of this Broncos offense. You're seeing the difference between quarterback play, and what I mean by that is you're seeing this offense take strides in right directions. Suddenly, when you're getting better quarterback play, you're seeing Devon Bailey, you're seeing Cortland Sutton, you're seeing Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims start stepping up as playmaking wide receivers. And so I think that's huge in Bo Nix's development. Is him having those playmakers around him, Sean Payton, also him and Bo Nix kind of getting that chemistry, seeing what Bo does well. And I think that's a big part of this development of Bo Nix is seeing how that Sean Payton Bo Nix pairing can come up with the best ways to make Bo Nix successful and play to his strengths. And I think that they're starting to do that as the season continues to go on. So I love to see it. Bo Nix certainly making strides in the right direction to being the franchise guy. again, he's not. I wouldn't say he's like a Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson quite yet. Let's give him time to continue to do his own thing. I said I need to give him 2 full seasons before I'm ready to kind of say he's a franchise guy or not. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, and that's fine. But
It's
I'm
all
just
good,
saying,
bud.
Bo Nix is going in the right direction. He's definitely something that he's got something in him that's special. I'm going to say that. But franchise quarterback wise, I just don't. For me, I don't use that word lightly when it comes to quarterbacks. You got to prove it to me over a good amount of time that you are a franchise guy. All these quarterbacks go through their struggles. It takes time for these guys to develop. Bo Nix is going in the right direction, though, and he's improving each and every week. And you're starting to see a better Broncos offense because of the quarterback play that you're seeing from Nix. I love what I'm seeing from Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix in the draft, and I think that he's got part of it is like when it comes to franchise quarterback is I don't think we've seen Bo Nix's ceiling quite yet. We've yet to determine where his ceiling is at. He has a high floor, I think, but where his ceiling's at, it's yet to be determined. I don't think we've seen the best of Bo Nix yet.
And that's fantastic, man. Broncos country, you got to be absolutely ecstatic after a 4-touchdown, 300-yard, 38-point performance that there's still more in there. And
Yeah.
there is still more in there. And the pairing now is Sean Payton, Bo Nix being Sean Payton's guy. I mean, we're talking about, how long can this run go now? How long now that we're so worried, can Sean Payton develop a quarterback? Well, I think we can all throw that out the window. Throw that out. That's gone. We can't. I mean, unless Bo Nix just falls off and it's all can be put on Sean Payton. I just don't know how this can go wrong, but it's looking like a pairing made in heaven, and you could see years and years and years of beautiful quarterback and offense development. You know what I mean? And pieces come in and really make this a team that's formidable. And it's all coming at the right time, buddy. It's all coming at the right time. I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear it. I think it's the faint sound of ukuleles. Hey, it's just Patrick Wiltsey coming in saying, aloha, gents. Very enjoyable games today. Raiders lose. KC losing, hopefully, as well. And he's giving those coffee emojis, and that's what's powering me through as well, man. That's what's powering me through some Lion Coffee. Check out Lion Coffee, the unofficial sponsor of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, but lioncoffee.com. I'm telling you, I'm just a coffee lover. I now can't think of drinking anything else that I've been spoiled with Lion Coffee. I'll just leave it at that. Got to get through all these comments. You guys are like just showing it up. I'm telling you. Got to get over to Dan saying Cody Barton interception. That was epic. He's also saying John Franklin Myers. Oh yeah, beast mode. Everyone's cheering on the Chiefs to lose, and that would be awesome. I got to get to our great friend Karen saying, watching Karen over on YouTube, and thank you, Karen, man. You've been in here supporting our show after show, like all of the posse. Starting to get a lot of Roundup royalty. Trevor stacked up. Got to give some recognition to all the people who come in and keep showing us the love. But Karen's coming in saying, watching Peyton's post-game presser, he gives full credit to the players for coming back the way they did after a loss like that. And it's inspiring to hear that from a coach for sure. Well, I just got done talking about, this matchup of coach Bo Nix. Talk about this that Karen just brought to the table, because I think this is huge. The Broncos just came off a devastating loss, man. That's tough. Anybody who's ever played sports, anybody that's ever been on a team of any kind, and you just take a devastating loss, to pick yourself back up, to go back out there and perform at this level is something else. And then talk about what it means for the coach to take zero credit for this, man. Talk about that as well.
Yeah, I think this might make Broncos country feel a little bit better. Chiefs just lost, so they're now 9-1. They're undefeated. Buffalo just beat them 30-21. Great win for Buffalo, and great news for Broncos country. Hopefully, that helps Broncos country celebrate even more. But no, yeah, I mean, again, it's It is. I mean, Sean Payton's completely right with that. It is the players that came back and really proved what they are. I mean, it was such a tough loss against the Chiefs. There's no doubt about it. But it's been the last, rough last couple of weeks for the Broncos against the Ravens. We all know how that turned out. The Chiefs, losing the way you did, but they bounced back, and they bounced back in a big way. They could have easily given up and just not bought into what Sean Payton and this coaching staff's trying to do, but they didn't. They battled, and I give a lot of credit to Sean Payton. This is what I will say about Sean Payton. I praise Sean Payton for some of what he deserves to be praised for, and I'm also critical sometimes of Sean Payton. But again, one of my praises for Sean Payton is the culture he's built with this team. It's back. That winning culture this team needs to be successful. It's there. You have a head coach that's bringing that to the table, the confidence level that he has, for this team he's bringing to the table. And he's continued to say and praise this team for being young and hungry, and that's exactly what they're doing. A lot of credit to Sean Payton for giving credit to these players for being where they need to be, dominating today, and really showing what they're capable of doing. And, but again, he should give himself some credit too for building this culture in 2 years to where this team is fighting for yet again another playoff opportunity per se. Credit all the way around, honestly. Pat on the back for everybody. That again, it just takes a complete team effort, all three sides of the field: offense, defense, special teams, coaching. Everything has to be on par for you to win. Not only win in the NFL, but win in the NFL and do it in this fashion, dominate. You don't just dominate. We don't see that every single week, especially against a good team, potentially like the Falcons, who had a winning record going into this game. It just takes pure dominance from everybody to be able to win like you won today. So a lot of credit for, around the board for everybody on this Broncos coaching staff and the players.
Yeah, I mean, I just got to give it up to these players. Like I said,
Yeah.
The loss, the way it went down last week, to go in there, and we saw it out on the field, Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
This was a completely different game plan than we've seen just about all year. I mean, there was different formations, different sets. This wasn't the same old Denver Broncos offense. You know what that means? That means that those players had to be in there. They had to be studying that playbook. They had to be running those plays. They had to get everything timed up, ready, know what the heck they're doing, and go out there and execute after just getting kicked in the teeth, really, man. That takes a ton. It wasn't just same old, what we always did now worked. You know what I mean? This was a phenomenal job, top to bottom. And man, gotta love it, man. Like I said, by the way, if anyone who didn't hear, we are expecting Glenn Cadrez to come back, Super Bowl 50, or Super Bowl champion, I should say, two-time Super Bowl champion, Glenn Cadrez. He's going to be coming back, and he talked about what it means to be a team, to have that, that team mentality, one unit, working as one, everybody's bought in, and we're seeing it. You're right, Trevor. What Sean Payton's done in 2 years to turn around the culture in this Denver Broncos team, and hats off to the Walter Penner group as well. They've done fantastic things to know that, to let the players know that they're invested, to let the coaches know that they're invested. I mean, they just replaced a field right before this game, man, just as an example. Kentucky Bluegrass, ship it on in. We got to get a good field. We're 10 weeks into the season. Our players and our fans deserve it. So just a whole different culture. It's great to see. We got to run through some more comments, man. We're coming up against some time. Maybe we'll just end up doing a little bit of a OT, as this has been a fantastic show. Karen said also, after seeing what Bo Nix was doing in training camp and week 2 live in preseason, I became a believer then. Awesome, man. I love it. Were you out for preseason as well as the week 2? That would be awesome. I usually get out there, so I missed it this year. I'd love to get your input on that as well. Jody, one of the horsemen, coming in here and saying Nix is our franchise QB and he's ready to go. Roy Osborne coming in here saying the weapons may not come to fruition ready of this year, but next year will be better for sure. Our good friend Paul's coming in here saying very good evening. He's super excited over on YouTube, saying yes as well. Welcome in, Paul. Sure does feel good, Karen. I agree. Great feeling being above 500 this late in the season, says Mr. Patrick Wilsey, and that's a great point as well. Making those strides when you need to make them. You talked about it. I know we'll be talking about it more over the next 2 episodes of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, but what's in front of us isn't necessarily the gauntlet that we thought it was. Who knows what's possible in these next few games? League on notice, says Paul over on YouTube, and I think when you start, as Trevor just pointed out, a 38-6 win, that many points, holding your opponent to only 6 points. That doesn't happen every Sunday. I mean, scoring 38 points doesn't happen every Sunday. Holding your opponent to 6 points doesn't happen every Sunday. Having it happen in the same game, I mean, that's like one of the things that you can like hang your hat on as being one of the best performances of the season for just about any team out there. Any team. Michael Ronquillo, he's excited. He says running back Javonte Williams shows his power against former Broncos safety Justin Simmons in the first half. Absolutely right. He was out there. He was playing well. Justin Simmons actually, I thought, played a decent game all in all, just from what I briefly looked at. I was watching our Broncos a little bit more. But that being said, Martin coming in over on YouTube. Absolute, complete domination. Love that as well. Kenny Kirkpatrick, what is a luxury is you don't have you don't know who Peyton is going to feature at running back. Gotcha. That's one luxury you have is knowing that you don't, Peyton, you don't know he's going to feature at running back. Today it was Williams. Next week it could be McLaughlin, then maybe Estime, Tyler Bader when he returns, ? And I talked about it. As long as these guys are well-rounded and they cannot be specific to their roles, I think that works out. We saw some catches from Estime, for instance. That needs to be up, being a part of his repertoire, as they may say. Anything else? They proved it. Ernie Mays, absolutely. They took it 100%, both on offense and on defense. Yes, Bo Nix did have a 300-yard type of day. It's funny. Our good friend, speaking of Kenny Kirkpatrick, because I saw him in the comments, we talked about him. I'll pass it off to you, and then we'll get some final thoughts in and wrap it on up. But our good friend Kenny, he's paired up with Kurt Valente over at the K&K Sports Show. Kurt Valente has Let's Talk Broncos on Wednesday. Got to check it out if you're needing something on a Wednesday. Tuesday 7:30 p.m. Denver Bronco Roundup podcast just wasn't enough. You're looking for more Broncos talk, over to K&K Sports Show on Wednesday. Check out Let's Talk Broncos. But he said, I remember him saying, he's like, you don't need a quarterback that throws for 300 yards. You don't need a quarterback that throws for 4 touchdowns. You don't need him. But, man, it sure does feel good when you got him. That's all I got to say about that, man. Sure does feel good when that's the case. So I'll pass it over to you. Let's get some final thoughts. We wrap up this amazing Denver Broncos victory. We'll be talking more about it come Tuesday. I know that for sure. But let's get some final thoughts in. I'll scan the comments, see if we got anything big that's dropping that we need to pull up. And if not, I mean, everybody come back Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Trevor, final thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, and someone mentioned that the Broncos defense held Atlanta to 6 points. Oh, by the way, you didn't have Brandon Jones today. So, I mean, you had one of your starters out, and you were still able to hold this Atlanta Falcons offense to just 6 points. But no, again, praise all around for Bo Nix in this offense. It was a team victory. I know the offense is, it's great to see this team put up 30-plus points. We haven't seen that in a long time. It feels good to finally get some consistent, good quarterback play, even if it's 300 yards, 200 yards, whatever. Just Bo Nix is just – he's a bright spot to this offense. He's a growing quarterback. He's making strides in the right direction to be that franchise quarterback. It's going to take a little bit of time. He's going to have his ups. He's going to have his downs. That's fine. As long as you stick with this guy, I think that he's going to be successful, that he has playmakers around him right now that can make plays. Yes, they will continue to add to that. Absolutely. But also going forward, I just want to look quickly to the schedule going forward. You have at Las Vegas and you have the Browns, 2 winnable games going forward for this Denver Broncos football team. I think you just got through one of your roughest points in the schedule right now, obviously with the Ravens, Kansas City, and then now with the Falcons. 1-3, you came out of that, and that's not looking too bad right now. Looking what you have going forward, 2 very winnable games going forward for this Denver Broncos football team. Don't see why they can't win going forward as well. Go get a little bit of a winning streak and control their own destiny getting to the playoffs. But no, enjoy this win, Broncos country. You guys deserve it. We love being here. We love covering a winning football team. I don't want to talk about draft quite yet. I'm not ready to do that yet. I want to talk about playoffs. It's been too long. So hopefully this continues, and going forward. And thank you everybody for tuning in to us. Again, we really appreciate it. We come on here live for you guys. And just I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Sunday and Monday watching football as well. Thank you everybody just for everything you guys do and the support that you guys bring to us. It really means a lot to us. We love you all, and I hope everybody has a great, safe week. We'll be back Tuesday to break the game down a little bit more in depth. As always, love to you guys, and go Broncos. Have a great week, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Lots of love coming in. You guys are absolutely amazing. I'm gonna have to do a little overtime just to get through some comments because Graham's coming in thinking he missed it. Well, you did kind of miss it, Graham, but you're absolutely right. What a great fun game. Nick's wasn't a real, he says. Who else did we have? I saw a Clayton game in here coming saying, hey guys, and smash that like button and share, guys. And that reminds me, I don't say it enough. We appreciate it. The likes, the shares, the subscribes. Please, if you have a chance, hit a thumbs up. Helps us out a ton. For those of you who are able to drop stars this evening, like Mr. Ron Keogh, like Mr. Phil McLaughlin, thank you very, very much. That's above and beyond. And we appreciate it. It allows us to do some things. I'm going to throw this out there a couple of times. I would like to know what would be more valuable to walk away as a Denver Bronco Roundup fan. Would it be more valuable to have a signed mini helmet by a current player or a signed jersey by a current player? Love to get your thoughts. Go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'll be checking them out afterwards. But man, absolutely excited about this Denver Broncos team. Excited to go back and take a look at everything that they were able to accomplish. Break it down on tape. Go back through it. And we do that because, well, you'll go out and you'll have a fantastic Monday, Broncos country, donning your orange and blue, living it up. I mean, doesn't get much better than this. I can't wait to wear my colors this week. But Tuesday, I want you to come back because we have our regular shows that just aren't post-game. We go live every Tuesday and every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. On our Tuesday show, we're breaking down this game, and this is going to be a fun one. We'll be able to dive deep, talk about Bo Nix, talk about Audric Estime, Javonte Williams, Devon Bailey, Nick Benito, and his now 2 extra sacks that he added on to a fantastic season. This Denver Broncos defense that held the Atlanta Falcons to 6. I can't wait to drop into this tape, see exactly what Sean Payton did, and see how much of it we can carry forward in this run. I think that we'll be able to get on. We'll be talking a little bit more about that. That being said, again, all the love. Thank you all so much for coming in here. And tell you what, yeah, they're pumped over there. Hashtag K&K. Yeah, got it. Like I said, got to check out that Let's Talk Broncos on Wednesday after our Tuesday show. Don't forget about watching our Tuesday show though too. Can't hype up everybody else and not talk about ourselves just a little bit. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. Been a fantastic show. You guys are just blowing up the comments. I can't keep up. I got to get going. It's only supposed to be 30. We went 40. I love you guys so much. We're going to get out of here like we always do. Remember, keep those boots right there in the stirrups. Keep your guns in your holsters. And always keep the Denver Broncos in your heart. We're going to get out of here. Have a great Monday. See you Tuesday, everybody. We're out.